Hey, I'm Wayde Kirvida, and behind me is a new rescue pumper we just completed for the Polo Fire District in the city of Polo, Illinois. Now this truck is built on a long 4-door Spartan Metro Star chassis. It's equipped with an L9 Cummins engine, Allison automatic transmission, a Waterous single stage 2000 GPM fire pump, and a 750 gallon poly tank with a 20 gallon foam cell. As you can see behind me, it features painted ROM roll-up doors. It's an aluminum rescue pumper style body. It features dunnage over the pump house, coffin compartments on both sides of the body, and slide-in storage of ladders in the rear compartment. Behind the cab on the driver's side, of course, we have the side-mounted pump control panel. And what you'll notice here, and probably in previous projects that we put out, are that the speedlays are located behind the fire pump. The idea being that when you tip the cab, there's a large access to the front of the pump compartment. That requires some design attention in the terms of making sure that we're clearing the tank to pump. This truck does not have a rear suction, so the speedlays do sit a little bit lower on this truck than had we had to raise them over a rear intake. Above the fire pump, there is a pass-through sleeve for stokes and backboard storage. We also have a couple aluminum tubes to house some pike poles. And the pump panel is very nicely laid out. We have push-pull controls across the panel for all the discharges, the tank to pump, and the tank fill. And then the driver's side discharges have their respective controls right near the outlet. The pump itself is equipped with 6-inch intakes on each side and the front. Now the front and officer side intake are air operated and equipped with pre-primers that are powered by the onboard Trident auto air primer. And then the driver's side intake features a traditional hand wheel for the butterfly valve. But in all cases, the butterfly valves are built within the pump compartment. The pump in this truck is a Waterous full-bodied fire pump. The model name is a CSU 2000. It's a large capacity full-body fire pump. It's not an end suction pump. And there are some important distinctions there. This truck has a dedicated 3.5-inch tank to pump valve. It has dedicated intakes for each side. And if it had a rear intake, it would have a dedicated inlet for the rear intake as well. Whereas an end suction pump, you're basically expecting everything to run into a single inlet and out a single outlet. Now I mentioned that the front and officer side intakes are air-operated butterflies. In conjunction with those, we do have the pre-primers, and that allows you to pull water up to the closed butterfly valve, making it easier to transition from onboard booster tank water to outside supply like a folding tank or a pond. And in rural firefighting applications, this is a beautiful system, because as you're running down your onboard booster tank and you're becoming aware of your low water supply, you can have your folding tank established and then prime the water up to the butterfly valve, and then when you're ready to make that transition, you just flip down that collar lock valve control, and the butterfly valve will open, and you can subsequently close off your tank to pump. If you have a Trident Air Auto Primer, you can have your primer up in the auto mode, and it will engage as necessary if it senses any sort of cavitation in the pump. That's also a nice feature when you are doing water shuttling, because if you're drafting, as you've probably experienced, you get down to near the strainer and they come and dump a load of water, you're going to create air pockets around the low-level strainer. So in that case, the primer also will engage as needed to establish prime. I like a couple other details on this pump panel that I'll mention. One is the CustomFIRE's air-operated foam fill system. It does not require to be flushed. It's not an electric motor or pump. It doesn't require the foam system to be operating when you use it, and you don't need to drain it. And it'll shut off automatically when the tank is full. Another thing that might have caught your eye is that they are able to control a traffic advisor from the pump panel, and that's just a neat additional feature for safety. Now, as I said earlier, the speed lays are behind the fire pump. They are removable poly trays, and each one carries 200 feet of 1 3/4 collapsible hose. There's a lot going on in this pump panel, a lot of thought and nice features. And I guess lastly, I'll just mention that we have a looks to be a 7-inch monitor. Now they have camera eyes on the front and rear and officer side of the truck, and that just gives the pump operator that added level of awareness when they're attending to the fire pump. Also, you can watch your portable tank on the front or the opposite side of the truck. So, visibility and awareness around the truck are extremely important for the pump operator, and this is just a simple tool that allows that to happen. Now Dave and Brian are staring at me right now. They're anxious to get in the truck and drive it home to Polo, Illinois. From here, we're going to go to the pump test stand. We're going to operate the truck. We're going to run those pre-primes and that front intake that I talked about. But it's evident here that a lot of attention to detail was put into the layout of the truck, the packaging, if you will. We have a storage area ahead of a toolbox here for a stand-up little giant ladder, an adjustable shelf, and then a 4-drawer tool chest that we make that here at CustomFIRE, so we have more control over the height, the width, and the depth. There are other branded toolboxes that we do put on trucks frequently. In some cases, it just makes the most sense for us to build it ourselves. And then below the body, we do have an underbody compartment. Over the rear wheels, we have a swing-out tool board. So this is a double-sided, perforated aluminum weldment that's hinged and dampened with an air strut. On the back wall, we have a raised panel of the same material, so they effectively have 3 large mounting surfaces in this compartment. Lots of storage. We're talking 27 inches of depth in all these compartments. Now here we have the diesel fuel, and then a couple cubbies for air bottles, and then ahead we have 3 air bottle cubbies. And one thing they wanted was more of a dedicated area for their cribbing storage, so we have a shelf with some adjustability, but that frankly is limited by the size of the mesh above it. Nevertheless, it's a large area for cribbing. And then it has a retention mechanism in the form of a cargo webbing. Throughout the body, we have a lot of power strips that are fed both by a shore power and an onboard inverter. They have a really nice looking front end on this truck. They have the Wayland Rotobeam warning lights above the headlights. Of course, we have the heated LED headlights. And then we have a pre-connected strainer and suction hose on the front bumper. And below that, they have a trash line or a hose well in the bumper. Got the requisite Q siren. And then we have the actual tow eyes coming out through the face of the bumper, which is a great feature to have. The mirrors are the heated remote West Coast style, Retract brand mirrors. And then we have a Fire Research Spectra brow light above the windshield. And you might be able to make out the camera eye that's mounted inside the cab behind the windshield. On the bumper apron, or otherwise known as the gravel shield, we've recessed the area here for the strainer to sit down in. And then on the other side, we also have the low mounted front suction pipe so that the elbow can recess down into the gravel shield to clear the headlights and warning lights at the front of the truck. And then, as with most Spartan chassis, they do have a hinged grill which offers access to the critical fluid levels. The customer even remarked that the back of this truck has a nice clean look to it. Everything's got a real buttoned up nature about it. You'll see in a minute that the ladders are behind the roll-up doors. but we do have coffin compartments on both sides. The left side's been notched in just to have a nice landing area to step onto to access the hose bed and those coffin compartments. We have our swing out drop down ladder as well. And then a detail I always love is when we laser cut their name right into the tailboard and then backlight it. Just that added touch of customization and attention to detail. The customer also remarked on how nice and sturdy our ladder is on the back of our truck. They apparently compared it to a couple other options out there and felt that ours was by far the sturdiest, most confidence-inspiring ladder. Plus, we adjust the width to more or less match the available space on the back of the body. And in this case, it is quite wide, but it just gives you a lot of reassurance going up and down the back of the truck. It's made out of stainless steel, so we don't have any corrosion concerns down the road. And then we laser cut and punch all the step surfaces, so it's extremely grippy in all, kind of weather conditions. So you can't see it, you just have to take my word for it that there's a 2.5-inch discharge at the front of this hose bed. So they'll have a 2.5-inch pre-connect up here. Obviously you can tell that we have hinged hose bed covers, and then you can tell the relative depth of the coffin compartments, which I'm standing in. Now these have turtle tile on the floor, LED lighting within, and floor drains as well. So if, in the event that they're left open in a rainstorm or something, you're not gonna have to get in here with a wet vac. Part of the irony of this business is that we make a cool product that the customer is excited to have, and the nature of using it isn't always, the best scenario. So you're kind of conflicted. Well, we have this awesome Lazy Susan for our battery powered rescue tools. Hopefully they just get to sit there and we don't have to use them a whole lot. Above that, tip out trays, adjustable shelving, more air bottle storage in the wheel well. And then on the right side pump panel, we have an auxiliary intake with the control right there. That's an air operated 6-inch intake. And then we have a 2.5 and a large diameter discharge with a Storts fitting on the end. All of us at CustomFIRE appreciate the time you take to watch these walk-around videos. We hope they're informative and maybe even a little entertaining. But mostly, we'd love to hear from you if you're in the market for a new pumper, rescue, or tanker apparatus. This truck's headed south to Polo, Illinois. If you want to look us up, you can check out our website at CustomFIRE.com. We're on Facebook. I'm Wayde Kirvida from CustomFIRE. Thanks for watching. Test. All right, cool. You guys want to get in it? No. No? You sure? We're good. Come on. All right. Anytime? Yep. All right. Now you can see here that the pumps, see, this is how the bloopers get made. All right. I guess I should talk about the camera too. I'm gonna do that over. All good? All right.